Hello everyone, I'm Renown Zero, and we are back again talking about some Ripperverse detractors. We're going to be dunking on today, including people like Actual Fandom. We'll dunk a little bit on Dick Masterson and show you exactly how weird these people are. And we got some even more people who want to quote unquote dunk on Eric July, even though Eric just sits on his YouTube channel and in his home, essentially making millions of dollars doing his own thing rather than having to talk about other people constantly. So we're gonna start here at the Ripperverse Goalpost Twitter account, starting with, of course, the Fandom Initiative. You know, those people who said they were clean to not talk about Eric, right? They're still doing it. They're never going to stop doing it because this is all they know and this is all they can do since they built a channel around hating on this man. The Fandom Initiative want Air July to stay in a box and sell to the same people. They do not want him to expand and welcome all customers. Great quote by Air July. If you don't like my politics, you can still buy my books, which is the opposite of what I believe Kelly Pseudoconic said, which was if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved. And then now, of course, she said that independent comic sales are in the red, mainstream comic sales are in the red, because you basically told everybody to F off rather than welcoming everybody regardless of the politics they had, which is the opposite of what Air July's message here is. So let's go ahead and listen to this video.
What is the fixing he's doing?
Well, that's what I mean. Like his belief is the same of a lot of people in this space, is that they don't like progressive comic books, so their idea of fixing it is making conservative comic books. There's nothing wrong with that stance.
Air July is not a conservative; he's a libertarian. No, the stance isn't progressive versus conservative comic books. The stance is stop putting your garbage identity politics into books and just make books fun. You can have your politics in the book, but let it be in the background and not at the forefront where everyone's just telling you what their pronouns and their sexualities are.
This is why this is so weird to me. Like, if you're an indie comic book company, you can make your comic book for whatever fucking reason you want to make it. This idea that he's got to pretend that his comic books were not anti-progressive.
His comic books are not anti-progressive. He's not pretending. He's simply making a book that is grounded and fun for people who want to read comics rather than listening to the political nonsense of the people writing the book.
In nature, from the start, is such a weird position to take. Mm-hmm. It's almost like he knows that there's not enough anti-progressive people to sustain a business. It's almost as if he knows that.
It's almost as if he made $7 million, over $7 million of revenue on 3 comics. One of which is actually both of them are new IPs in the same universe, with Yaira and Gooding coming next.
And that's why he's doing this. But I could be wrong. Here we go.
You could be wrong. You are wrong. He's creating a comic universe because he was sick and tired of the people who are currently working mainstream taking everything that they didn't create and essentially turning it into something that it isn't.
Both creatively and economically. So our goal was never to make the same exact mistakes, just having a slant to a different side of the political spectrum. That defeats the purpose.
A slant? Dude, you make so many anti-progressive videos, anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-fucking,
No, he makes anti-pedo videos. Not anti-gay. He's never been against gay people. Not anti-trans. He's never been against trans people. He's never even been against the idea of someone essentially chopping off their genitalia when they're a fully grown adult and can make their own decision. He's only been against people doing it to children. But of course, you would know that you don't really watch his content.
A union, like a slant, like was it? So he lowered the price to $5 a month. So that wasn't working either. Let's see where we go with this here.
We will sell our
He lowered the Ripperverse membership down because he's able to do that considering all the money he's earned from the supporters and the customer.
Products to anybody of whatever affiliation. You're crazy.
It's almost as if that's exactly what the big publishers do.
No, they don't. They literally make books for weirdos like you on Twitter. Not for actual customers of comic books.
They will sell their products to anybody that wants to buy them.
Wait, you mean if somebody offers him money, he won't say no?
Right. It's almost like he doesn't care who the customer is.
No crap, he doesn't care who the customer is. He's a capitalist at the end of the day. He will take money and give product to whoever will want to buy it, even if you completely hate him.
Like does he think Marvel doesn't do that?
That's what I mean. Like his argument.
No, he thinks Marvel and DC create books specifically for woke progressives on Twitter, whereas he does not. And they put their politics to the forefront of the story rather than letting the character express whatever identity that they have.
Argument was that these comic book companies were trying to cater to too many people, and now he's literally like, I'm doing the same thing.
No, they're catering to a very small percentage of people who don't buy books.
Sell it to women? Women can buy his comic books? I thought his stance was that women don't like comic books.
No, his stance is that women aren't the main target of comic books. See, this is why y'all are being willingly obtuse, and this is what typical leftists do. They do not understand the position of their opponent, and they assume what their opponent's position is. They do this all the time, especially with these guys, especially with the Fandom Initiative, with Eric, Actual Fandom, and Organized Chaos Bob. They do this all the time.
Yeah.
To all of the customers and fans of the Rippaverse, and if you don't like my politics, you can still buy my books.
They obviously don't know that's a joke against, again, Kelly Sue DeConnick, who said, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. They still don't understand that that's a joke against her.
Oh my god.
Oh my fucking god. That line, if you don't like my politics, you can still buy my books.
Yeah, because again, you guys are dummies and don't understand that it's a joke against an actual comic pro. But we also have Richard Embry, who embraces being a detractor. Let's see what he has to say.
It seemed to me, like from my perspective, any criticism of July, it was like, oh, they want to retweet it. They want to call you a hater. They want to call you a detractor.
Wrong. Any criticism from a bad faith actor like you or Dick Masterson or Pedo, right? The big dude who hasn't delivered a comic yet, hashtag when it's super killer. No. Those are the type of criticisms he doesn't have to accept because they're not coming from a place of good faith. They're coming from a place from people that don't like him anyway, especially from Vito the Pedo, who for a year and a half was pestering Eric July about his book, saying it wasn't going to succeed, it was going to fail, it was going to fall flat on his face. And yet, this is the same guy who hasn't put out a book yet. Not Richard Embry. I mean Vito, who's putting out Super Killer. So, no. People who have actually purchased his books or had any actual interest in purchasing his books, he has already addressed the criticisms, like lowering the price of the book, lowering the shipping cost, and addressing any typos in his books. So, no, you're wrong.
So, you know what I did? I just fucking embraced it. All right? I'll be the detractor. You want me to be the bad guy? You got the bad guy.
Detractor.
I'll be it, whatever. Because now you're retweeting it and you're trying to do that. So fuck it, I'll own it. What irritates me is this whole blocking shit and talking about someone behind a block. Like first it was Andrew that did that shit, and then
well, if you weren't being a Moogle, which is what Andrew went around calling people, you wouldn't be called a Moogle.
Now Ripper does it, and I just think that's man, that's the most fucking pussiest thing you can do.
The funniest thing is that people like Frogman or, I don't know, the two fat individuals that talk about me, they do the exact same thing. So are you going to call them out on their nonsense? Are you going to call out the other frog boy who does the exact same thing, who talks behind blocks? Or is it just one-sided? Is it only one side is okay to do it and the other side isn't? What are we doing here?
Ooh, man. Like, I know he's going to be like, I never said anything about you, blah, blah, blah. But retweeting and encouraging stuff and taking shots and laughing from behind a block, it seems real bitch made, man. Like, you
are bitch made. You sit up in a room or a live chat, I should say, with 7 other guys talking about other creators, like my boy LG, and you talk about Eric. And he'll do it on a live stream and say it out loud. that you're all bitch made, that you all act like women. So
you block and you block everything that someone disagrees with you, or the slightest thing.
So he hasn't blocked Professor Hateen. He hasn't blocked quite a few people who disagree with him. He's only gotten rid of people who he knows are being willingly obtuse. Because it's very obvious to see it with most people.
And you just block, and just, you don't think that's like SJW tactics?
No. No one has to sit up here and listen to anyone's nonsense on this app. Everyone is allowed to block whoever they want, and everyone is allowed to not associate with anyone on this app. There is a block feature for a reason on literally every social media app. You're not about to sit up here and act like it wasn't intended to be used. But if you want to embrace it, you're gonna go ahead and embrace this weirdness that your boy Ripoff first made, which this is supposed to be Alex behind Eric July in his warehouse. Pretty weird in my opinion. We also have the Fandom Initiative who reminisce about the days when they were on the top of the detractors of Eric July. They doubt Rippaverse will release 6 books this year.
July right now. Like he's gone from being so well loved, and remember when the detractors were just like 10 or 15 people, and we were always the ones they said, oh, these are his biggest detractors, right?
Now we were first, man. Look, we're always going to be the fucking pioneers.
We were the top 4. We were the top 4 on the detractor list, right? But no, remember,
it's called leaving y'all in 2023. It's called leaving y'all in the dust. It's called focusing on your own product rather than focusing on your nonsense and all of your nonsense that comes from all of you. So bye.
When we were the ones that they were saying, oh, these guys don't like him, blah blah blah. Now he has people within Comicsgate who are denouncing him, who are saying that they're not going to support him, and that is
who's we? Frogman? That's not really a big loss. I'm sorry, it's not. He got rid of the envious, jealous Frogman who decided he would go on this weird tirade and constant poking at people, right? Poking now at Yellow Flash because he supposedly didn't pay his artist.
Is the community that he was aligned with to sell his comic, and make no mistake.
What about Graham Nolan? What about Mike Barron? What about Gabe Al-Taib? What about Chuck Dixon? They're all CG, and they love Eric July. Mike Barron's writing a book for him. Chuck Dixon's writing Alpha Core. Gabe Al-Taib is doing, I believe, coloring, right? Because Cliff Richards, I believe, is the artist. What about Graham Nolan, who had the same exact sentiment as Eric July, yet they've said nothing about him, saying that books should be on time and books should have quality while also being on time. What happened to that? What about those CG guys? What about John Malin praising artwork by Joe Bennett in Alpha Core? I don't see John Malin denouncing Eric July. I don't see Cecil denouncing Eric July. So you're just making crap up at this point.
It isn't a big shock to me that because now he's burning those bridges, his sales have been dropping because you're creating
he hasn't really burned many bridges. And again, if you want to talk about burning bridges, right? Are we going to talk about the declining sales from Cyberfrog 2 to Cyberfrog 3, or are we just going to completely ignore that? I keep telling people that watch my videos, and I thank everyone for watching my videos, that the same tactics are not applied to both sides. Are we going to talk about how Cyberfrog 2 to Cyberfrog 3, that there's a decline in sales? Or are we just going to talk about the supposed decline from ISOM 2 to Alpha Core 1, even though those are 2 separate IPs and 2 separate sets of characters? As in ISOM being the main hero of the Rippaverse, whereas Alpha Core is a separate set of heroes within the same universe, while he's building the universe of his comics.
That foundation that you have has cracks in it now.
Well, and also, look, I mean, I'm sorry to be the guy, but like I've called all this shit from.
I'm sorry to be the guy who essentially made a video studying a charlatan for over a year, even though your video was garbage, and you kept saying how Glenn Beck and Mablaze funded Eric July, even though he had $1 million before he got even noticed by mainstream and promoted by mainstream.
fucking day one that I covered the guy, basically, that like,
Yeah.
you know, his sales were gonna fucking dwindle.
Eric talked about trying to put out 6 books next year. Where is that money? Where's that money coming from?
Oh, I don't know, the sales of ISOM 1, 2, and Alpha Core. You know, the books that can still be bought after campaigns end. You know, the merchandise that can still be purchased after the campaigns end, which I believe is a thing that these guys still have yet to understood. That you can still buy ISOM 1 and 2 and Alpha Core as well when that campaign ends. You can still buy the merchandise and the books after the campaigns end. These people don't understand that they're so stupid and they don't realize what they're saying makes no sense. So far they've got Yaira 1 and Gooding coming out soon. Yaira in winter, Gooding in the spring. So that's the first 2 books. The other 4 books are unannounced projects.
His campaigns dropped by half within a
time.
year and a half of each other. How is he going to put out 6 books unless there's a massive drop in quality? And I'm talking like massive drop in quality.
So the only way Eric July, according to Eric, that he could put out 6 books in a year is if the quality drops. Even though the quality of Alpha Core number 1 was fantastic. Okay.
And I am very curious to see how this year goes with him attempting to put out 6 comic books.
I wonder what the goalpost shift will be if Eric is actually able to pull it off and release 6 books this year. And I think actually the 3rd book is ISOM number 3. So those are the first 3 books, I believe, are Yara number 1, Gooding the Polymath, and ISOM 3.
Yeah.
I am very, I think comic books out there.
And I believe it might possibly be Alpha Core 2 and Yaira 2. And I'm going to say possibly, I would say the other book is either going to be Santuan or Norfolka. I have no insider information about that. I'm just speculating.
So for Eric July to go, there is no independent community. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, anybody. Not only does anybody that works in the community or operates in it understands how fucking stupid that is to say, but like anybody that just cares at all, even slightly about indie comics, knows that that's like it's just objectively untrue, and only the only person that can say that is someone who has no idea what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah. I consider myself part.
None of you have any idea what you're talking about when it comes to Eric July, so you guys should be the last ones talking about having no sense about anything.
The independent comic community remotely, but you know what? I attend conventions.
Yeah.
You know what? It's impossible to ignore there. It's a big part of it. And
I mean, the other thing is, I think it's really disingenuous for anybody to go, I want to see the independent community thrive and be big and bold, but then do absolutely zero to help promote that community when you have one of the biggest platforms.
Because he's not owed anybody his platform. He decides who and when he promotes people. Why is this a hard concept for you all to understand? Nobody has to promote anybody. You are your best promoter, and you should be the one, for the most part, getting your stuff out there. If you end up getting some shout outs from people, make sure it's organic and not just you begging people to do it for you. It's nobody's job to promote your product except you. But anyway, we got also this guy who is triggered by neurotic thumbnails. Let's get into it.
Me finding probably the loudest one of them all, Nerdrotic. For those of you who don't know, you lucky few, Nerdrotic is a commentary YouTuber who I feel is pure poison to the YouTube platform. Specifically, the
oh no, putting out opinions is poison to the platform.
Film side of the platform. Don't believe me? Well, let's just take a look at his channel, will we? Now, you might
oh no, thumbnails.
I notice immediately. Nerdrotic's thumbnails. They instantly catch your eye with just how absurd and downright insulting they are. Now, thumbnails to me are...
And thumbnails are supposed to pull in the viewers so that they watch the content. That's the whole point of a thumbnail.
A clear sign of somebody's intentions. Reason being, it's the first thing you see when you watch a video. It's the first impression you're given to that video. But the difference here is that these thumbnails are a pathetic attempt to get people's attention. He likes to use...
Well, it's not that pathetic considering all those videos you showed have hundreds of thousands of views, so he must be doing something correctly. By the way, his thumbnails, I believe, are created by Perry Chan.
Use Hollywood in big letters, likes to use woke in big letters. He likes to use actors' faces and turn them into the strangest of things, whether it's related to the video or not.
A lot of people do that.
After all, why is Tom Hanks here? Why is he dressed up like the warrior?
Because the face is hilarious, and it's the type of face that'll get someone to click this video.
In Black Panther, why do you constantly put actresses' heads on a bodybuilder's body? Why are you removing their teeth? None of this has anything to do with the video that you're making.
All those thumbnails have always had something to do with the video that he's making.
And that's intentional. You see, Nerdrotic is an infamous hate baiter. That's why he gets so many views. He gets people in by baiting them.
He gets people in by being informative of what he's talking about in every single video he's ever created. This is how I know this guy doesn't know anything about Nerdrotic and has never watched a single video from him.
Just look at this thumbnail. None of this has any real meaning to the video. It's just a bunch of actors edited to look ridiculous. Why make it like this? The reason? It's desperation.
It's not desperation, especially for a channel that has almost 1 million subscribers.
It's so often said that if you resort to clickbait to get people to watch your videos, it often means that nobody wants to watch your videos just as they are.
Yet he has hundreds of thousands of views on every single video and has almost 1 million subscribers, but apparently nobody wants to watch his videos.
It's a lazy and pretty pathetic attempt to grab people's attention. By putting...
That's the whole point of a thumbnail. You just said that earlier.
Well-known actors, some for better or for worse, on your thumbnail to get people to watch you. As the excessive use of editing to completely disfigure people who have never done anything wrong to him.
So what? Moving on. These videos are entertaining, your labels need nothing. You got this person saying these 3 men represent the worst parts of the nerd community, the racist, misogynistic, phobic trinity. So you see Neurotic, Tyrone Magnus, and the Critical Drinker. Yeah. Sure. Clowns compare Eric July to the funny mustache man from WW2. He's getting people riled up over a culture war.
Anarcho-capital.
Before we start, do you remember what Eric July said about his haters? Fat, out of shape, and white.
That's how he got on the blaze.
He saw that he could make way more money grifting on the right on bullshit comic books. He knew all these nerds was an open space, and I'll be the black guy, and I'll go over to these nerds, and they'll do whatever I say. And he was like,
so he's grifting because he's a black guy? Yeah, something he can't change is him being a black guy.
Exactly fucking right.
Well, I don't really like comics books. The fact that he says the things I agree with, so I like
this entire.
That's how you get people involved. You can grab people who've never opened a comic book, who've never read a comic book before, to read a comic book, saying that this is going to be great. It's called marketing.
Sector is based on getting people riled up over a culture war. It's like, okay, maybe there is a bit of a culture war.
So you backtracked on exactly what you said. You're getting people riled up over a culture war. Okay, so there may be a culture war. So, again, make it make sense.
This is not helping. Like, you're essentially doing what Hitler did.
He's getting people enthusiastic about a brand new comic book company that he owns solely.
Before the Second World War, where he would just go to bars and get people riled up, and they'd march in the fucking streets and riot, and he'd go home.
So again, you're comparing him getting people enthusiastic for a brand new comic book company, a brand new IP, in comparison to the funny mustache man from WW2, riling people up to go fight? What?
They're not even doing that. They're following algorithm. As soon as they see what's trending, that's what they talk about. These are the pussies not even in the bar. They're in the streets looking into the window.
They're doing digital beer hall pushes.
Yeah. Fucking pussies, everybody.
Yeah, it really is like it's disappointing that you just kind of notice that pattern after a while. You're just like, man, they're just talking about the same shit all the time. You don't really hear them talk about anything good.
because there's nothing really that good to talk about. And when there is something that's good to talk about, they do talk about it. Again, more people who don't know the way their opponent operates or anything that their opponent says, or they don't know anything about their opponent's position on anything before they start talking.
No,
Drinker's the only one out of any of them that actually does.
He's making something. He's a published author.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Eric July is a published comic book writer. Oh no.
He actually does stuff.
But he's the only one that actually ever covers anything he liked.
Not only that, he's always trying to change it up. He gets bored with it. He always has like a different take on it. He even tries to like fix his movies and shit. Like, this is what they could have did. It would have been better. None of them do any of that. They just go for the latest thing.
Whether you like his takes or not.
It's called talking about the current pop culture news.
Not like I don't think you could consider him a grifter per se, because he's not doing anything. Like, he's not trying to sell you shit. Like, the only comic book he wrote was a Rambo First Blood fucking thing.
Who wrote that? Eric didn't even write that. Eric didn't even write that. Yeah, and we go over to Dickie Boy Masterson, because apparently out of this, right, he gets the next thing that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the video first. We're going to laugh at it because I think this video is hilarious. And we'll see what Dick Masterson got out of this 47-second clip.
He's threatening me!
But of course, for the people that aren't informed of Eric July's content, he has this bit where people clutch pearls every time they get offended by something and faint on the couch.
Faint on the couch! He's threatening me! Threaten you with what?
And this is coming from when they said that he was threatening CG's existence.
Nigga, what are you talking about? What am I threatening you with? What am I threatening you with? What can I do? I don't need him. I've been in the game for 50 years. Comic pro. Okay, you the big bad booty daddy. What can I do to you? I can't do anything to you, man. But apparently I'm some guru. I got the strings attached. I'm just some evil, sinister fucking puppet master, and I'm going around controlling people. Controlling them to do what? Who the fuck knows? But it sounds very evil because Eric July is conspiring.
Now, what did big brain Dick Masterson get out of all of this? That Eric July shaved his shoulders. That's what he got out of this video. Riley lost his Batman. What's he gonna do now? Maybe Jasmine likes him shaved. Okay, we got Chris Bacon. Unfortunately, we will have to inform JJ that if we can shave Eric July, we can save Eric July theory has been officially debunked. Oh my god, his poor wife, she's the one who had to shave those shoulders, that poor soul. Yeah, it's kind of weird that you guys are obsessed with the type of hair a man has on his body. It's pretty gay. So we got him. Here we got Vito. So Yellow Flash has been holding his comic book artist hostage, forcing the guy to choose between getting paid up front or getting a percentage of the total sales. The guy who's relying on donations to get his kids Christmas. You don't even know the whole thing, bro. Dealer literally came out and said himself that he chose to own 40% of the property rather than taking payment. You give someone an advance against their royalties. This crap is like Bush League kids games. Embarrassing. Just send them the money with no strings, Flash, you greedy cocksucker. Dealer draws the only reason your comic exists. Your script is crap. Now, this is the same crap that he pulled before reading Isom, of course, and we all know how that turned out. Not in Dick Masterson's favor. Not in Buster Baxter's favor. It was Eric July that got me fired from Timcast's Adam Crigler, of course, going along with the meme that Eric July did stuff. It's a meme at this point. Similar to the What's Your Favorite Part of Isom. God damn, they got every douchebag in the griftosphere on this crappy joke to protect Eric July's ego. Pathetic. Dude, you sound like a baby, dog. You're back to this nonsense. Again. Shut up. I made $0 out of my $7 million culture war comic, and I'm here to teach you about business. Yeah, again. No, they don't. When there's no product yet, no loans, there's no money. Nobody's getting a salary. As some owner, my friend, I encourage you to learn more about this. I got $0 in salary, still haven't really before launching the product. I'm not trying to insult, you just have a lot to learn about business. Even though he has a successful YouTube channel where he gets constant support on there. Of course, we had the return of Obtuse Gnome, but of course he's back. Oh my god, I found the effing Eric July Kickstarter comic. It wasn't on Kickstarter, it was on his own website. In my comic book store, bargain bin for $2. And Eric July had already got the 35 for this one, so who cares? He already got his money. People are allowed to not like ISOM, and they're allowed to essentially do with it what they want because it's their product they paid money for. Oof, and it's signed. Yeah, because nobody wants anything signed by you, homie. Lol, Jesus Christ. Fenrir, how did you write this goofy supervillain crap about me and not realize why people are making fun of you guys? Again, I always say you can't really be made fun of when you don't allow people to do so. Showing this right here. I also wonder if he's worried Dick and his yes men will turn their sights on him if he says nice things about Rippa. The thing with Dick is that he is a remorseless troll and a-hole. Nothing he does will ever make him feel bad regardless of who it's towards. Oh no, terrible. Oh no, terrible. Because obviously you have to sneak somebody in somewhere. I can tell this is the Gilded server. So, well, nobody talks about Rippaverse stuff anywhere. How I lost $7 million to a bunch of parasites. So this is how he feels about anybody involved with Rippaverse, including the customers. He considers everyone to be parasites. Every one of us. Every one of us to be parasites. Yeah. Every single person. I don't know how this was supposed to be good, but it looks like same subs, I guess. I don't know. This might have been recent, actually, now that I think about it. This is just, they took screenshots of how they made 14K views in 2 years versus 14K views in 2 days. Not really a huge deal, in my opinion. But I guess it's a small victory, considering they want to come at my neck for my small channel, right? People want to come at my neck about how my views are low, even though I'm a way smaller channel than a lot of people out there. So I guess I should be allowed to say, that's not a big deal for a channel your size. So at the end of the day, more detractors are going to pop up. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more when Yaira #1 comes out. I'll be covering every single second of it, along with Rippaverse Goalposts. If you don't already follow him, shout out to him. Follow him over on Twitter and YouTube. I believe he's close to 1,000 subs if he's not already there. And again, I thank everybody for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, returning viewers. If you do like the video, hit that like button, comment below what you feel about all of this. Subscribe for more content and hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all. That way you get notifications anytime I post a new video or live stream. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.